Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review of another 80s horror film. And this time we have Videodrome. This is the Criterion Collection DVD. And I like looks like a cassette like you would see in the movie. Especially this. Betamax. Long live the new flesh. Death to Videodrome. The features, I mean, you did a pretty decent commentary with James Woods, which is cool. He's proud of the film. Same with Deborah Harry. He had another commentary track with David Cronenberg. 40-page booklet. Half-hour documentary about the special effects. It's too bad there wasn't like a full-length documentary on the making of the film with on-camera interviews with David Cronenberg, James Woods, etc. It also has a cool Fear on Film, a 26-minute roundtable from back in 1982, which had John Landis, but John Carpenter and David Cronenberg, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Videodrome, this is a very weird movie. This is a very strange film. But it's also one of my favorite Cronenberg movies. I would say my favorite is The Fly. This might be my second favorite. Because I do like The Dead Zone. I like A History of Violence. I like... Why is there... There's one I'm missing. Shivers I never saw. The Brood I could not get into. Scanners I think is overrated. I like the head explosion. I like Mike Ironside. That's it. I actually prefer Scanners 2 more. In fact, my favorite Standard movie is Standard Cop. Standard Cop is my favorite Standards movie, so I was never a fan of the first one. Existence, I thought it was a lame version of Videodrome, to be honest. Except this is about video, that was about video games. I mean... Existence I did not care for. Eastern Promises I barely remember. But I do like The Dead Zone. Naked Lunch, that was the one I missed. I like Naked Lunch. So it'd probably be The Fly, Videodrome, then The Dead Zone, and then Naked Lunch. And then A History of Violence. For the Cronenberg films I like. This one, again, I don't know why I keep thinking this came out in 1982, when really it was 1983. But James Woods, who is one of my favorite actors, I love James Woods. That's why I really want to get that Blu-ray of Vampires. Just James Woods is interviewed for it. And he plays a character named Max Wren, who works with this TV station in Toronto that tries to do sensationalistic programming, like offbeat programming that'll get the viewers hooked. And James Woods, I've never seen him give a bad performance. I love... this is one of those guys I wish would work with characters like vampires or even this more. Because even in this genre, I really like Cat's Eye and his segment, Smokers Inc. Really like this film. The Hard Way, it's not the same genre, but I'm just saying films of his I like. The Hard Way is a lot of fun with him and Michael J. Fox. I really like... Oh, God, I had it in my head. Cop, which has a great ending. If you've never seen Cop, I won't give away the ending, but let me just say, the ending to Cop is absolutely fucking satisfying. I'll say that. Or the last moment. I really like the movie, but the last moment Cop, if you're a fan of Badass, it's not really action, but if you're a fan of Badass, just watch the last scene in Cop. You'll get what I mean after you see it. But this, he did a really good job as Max Wren. And they're looking at material like this softcore porn Asian flick and like, he's bored with these other business suit types. One guy's like, it's not tacky enough. Tacky for what? It's tacky enough to turn me on. It's not tacky enough. And James was like, this is too soft. I want something tough. He does get something tough. This video feed that looks like it's a woman being beaten the shit out of in this orange cell room where there's clay on the walls, like mud on the walls. And he's looking into this like, what's this deal? What's going on? What is this? You know, we just show this to people. Which honestly, you can see that happening nowadays with shock value of movies and TV, and if they were able to get away with it, you would have a shitload of those on YouTube. Sometimes you do with the fake pranks and what was that piece of shit, Daddy05? I played the prank on my kids and look how he tries. And then later on, it was just an act. He's an actor. It's like, you're fucking, your dad should have pulled out. One of those fucking guys. But anyway, if you don't know who Daddy05 is, just don't worry about it. But it's something that you can, even today, to be relevant. And Deborah Harry, who mainly associated with music, she's in this as a woman, and her and James Woods sort of start this sadomasochist relationship, which is very strange. But you have this shot where both of them are naked, and looks like nice, slow, sensual love. But on the TV is video, this thing called Videodrome, this fucking woman getting beaten up. And then the couple, he pierces Deborah Harry's ears. I think he even like licks it too. Like licks after piercing it. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what is going on? And James was looking more into this. Some people think it's snuff TV. He's like, I don't buy into it. And there's a lot of things that's nice to see watching this that Cronenberg was talking about. But even just the aesthetic thing, it's interesting that, you have a mission for the homeless. This is a mission for TV junkies. So it's not food that they did. It's a room where it's like a bunch of TVs that people could sit in and watch TV. Like little things like that is like, oh, okay, yeah, interesting. Or when the effects really start getting into play, the more he watches Videodrome, and he's losing it. And you get the beta tapes. I don't know if this is true. I think something about they use beta tapes and not VHS because something about the size of a VHS tape, or I'm not sure what it is. If you know, please feel free to mention in the comments. But like it starts pulsing, like it's alive, the tape, and there's the moment where he has this slit that looks like a vagina, and he has a gun, is itching, and then his hand disappears in it. Then when he pulls out, the gun's gone. Later on, when he gets a tape pushed into him, and then like this gun, these things form and hook into his skin, and like in and out of his wrists, and becomes part of his arm. This gun becomes part of his arm, and that's like the cancer gun. And man, David Cronenberg, I miss him doing horror films. I mean, even the Dead Zone, that moment with the the scissor suicide. I know he doesn't do horror anymore. It's too bad. I think people would like to see that one more time, but hey. It just seems like he's above it all. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's something else. But just the weird body horror things Cronenberg would come up with. Just very outside the norm, and dare I say original. Like, can you imagine an original film like Videodrome coming out in theaters today? With this kind of like grisly effects and cancer guns, and forget about it, man. If it did, it'd come like direct to VOD or something. But I mean, you have this scene here where the TV starts pulsing, and on the top, even like veins, look like veins appear, and there's moaning, and you know the screen's like cascading out, and he's putting his face in like I would to a titty, trying to suffocate himself, it seems. This is weird sexual body horror craziness. And when you listen to the dialogue, you know there's a bit more going to this. Like one guy says, there's nothing real outside our perception of reality. And it sort of gets into the question, okay, he's seeing these hallucinations. Are they strictly just, you got a tumor, the hallucinations, that's it, none of this is really happening, none of this blah blah blah, and this is a form of mind control to punish evil people that would see this sick stuff, which these assholes, some of these assholes are doing. Just who would watch this filth? What scum? We're going to punish them, and then it'll give you brain tumors, you die. You could take on that value, on that level, which I'm sure a lot do. Or you just say that it also creates this other reality. So when it gets to the ending, you just say it's downbeat, but there is a way to look at it in a different way, and the movie earns that. It's not something that just pulled out of one's ass. But it's just a lot of funky stuff. I mean, where he goes, this one guy, he's like, hey, well, if you have hallucinations, we'll record it. He puts on this big, giant thing. It really does take you into a offbeat, original, kinky, sadomasochistic, crazy effects world. And you know, it might be saying something about violence and TV, which I'm against that. Meaning, I don't think movies, TV affect people in that way. I really don't. Maybe to the point of being desensitized. But you know, I can't even say that. No, I scratch that, because I've seen a shitload of movies, horror movies. But if I saw something like that in real life, I would puke. If someone got their arm broken, if I see it in a movie and Steven Seagal or someone does, I'm like, ooh, if that happened in real life, I can't handle it. That's why I maybe I can only speak for myself. Some people, maybe they do get desensitized. I don't know, but speak for myself. I think it's more mental health, or, well, that's more of the extreme things. Maybe there are people who don't get used to it. But maybe that's what the movie's trying to do, give you a little bit of food for thought to go into any of those directions. I also forgot how short this movie was. This movie's only like an hour and, 28 minutes? This is a very short film. In a good way. And again, the spoilers, if you don't want to hear. But I will say before that, I do think this is a very creative, original, what the fuckery of, like, what the hell? Like, definitely original. Which is nice to see. I mean, it's nice to revisit. With a great performance by James Woods. Again, I'm a big fan of the guy. Very solid direction by David Cronenberg. The score by Howard Shore fits the film very well. I think it's a really decent, more than decent score. And Deborah Harry did fine. She's not a trained actress, but she did fine for her role. And into the finale, again, spoilers. I love the cancer gun stuff, where it just goes weird, where like this guy tries to put another tape in him, but he's sort of by this point be deprogrammed and maybe programmed by this other lady to help her out. And when the guy puts his hand, he comes out and it's like it's mangled, but like it was made into a bomb too. And the guy backs out and it explodes back through the wall, and then James Woods walks through the wall, and then there's like people reacting to the point like, wait a minute. What really happened in real life? Did he shoot the guy and somehow he went through a wall? Or is this now actual reality where perceptual reality, it becomes real, and his head really did turn into a fucked up bomb and he blew up? And that's why, I mean, that's the thing, like, you can look at it either way, and I think you're justified either way. And it seems like by the making of, that's the point. It's to make you use your brain a little bit. And there's not one clear, concise answer. You could go which direction you want. Or when he shoots the bad guy, and then he explodes this very gory, graphic, cool way of all these fucking tumors coming out of the head, and like, holy shit. Shit. I miss that in movies. I miss that when you get a finale and you get good gory shit like this. That's practical. Not CGI bullshit. That looks like a fucking cartoon. But you don't get that nowadays. You don't. That's fucking sad. And then the ending, which, yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for upbeat endings, so I would have ended it differently. But I mean, the more I watch this, the more I go, you know, you can look at it in different ways, because after he kills the bad guys, there's the talk, was like, to become the new flesh, you must kill the old flesh, and, you know, long live the new flesh. And he shoots himself, and you could go, well, okay, he kills himself because he's been used up, and he's in this Videodrome world. But then you can look at it as if, does he shoot himself and in a way becomes normal? Does he shoot himself and does go to other level? I know that apparently there's another ending where they show after he shoots himself, he's on the Videodrome set with Deborah Harry and the other girl, I forget her name, and he's like with the both of them, and kind of this weird thing where, you know, it kind of made you go, oh, well, apparently something was after. But I know David Cronenberg didn't do it. He cut it out because that would appear as if there's an afterlife. Like, okay, he died and now there's something after. And David Cronenberg is an atheist, so he didn't want to do that. So, I mean, I think for most people, they'd be like, no, Matt, he obviously just killed himself and that's it. But I like looking at stuff in different ways. I do think the movie does give you the option of looking at it in that different way. So to me, when he did that, he went to another level, which, you know what, that would be interesting for a sequel. You know, what is, I mean, most people are like, no, it's better left unexplained. But I'm just saying, it would be curious for David Cronenberg and James Woods to work together in a Videodrome 2, with the way media is nowadays, with the way things are nowadays, and maybe him live in the new flesh, and, or, I think that'd be interesting, but I know that would never happen. But either way, very, like I said, weird, crazy, original, bit thought-provoking in a way. Great gory effects and makeup effects. Solid performance by James Woods. Again, the ending, I would have done stuff differently, but just the creativity involved with this. You know, the whole thing with the tape, like, you know, that whole stuff. It just, it's a shame you don't see that a lot nowadays. I always forget that Rick Baker had a hand in this. I always forget that. Huh. I don't know why I always forget that, but because Rick Baker, you always hear people talk about other movies that Rick Baker worked on, but not really talk about this. So I'm surprised there hasn't been a newer Blu-ray by Stream Factory or Arrow Video that, you know, has updated features. I'm surprised. Just Criterion, I mean, this is a good DVD, but Criterion as a company, I think they're overrated. Just like, you know, sometimes I remember back in the day they cost so fucking much, and then you're like, really? Cost so much for that? But anyway. Thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you later for another 80s horror movie review. And remember, death to Videodrome, and long live the new flesh.